as I got ready to talk about the items that sold last weekend, I just wanted to talk a little bit about sales on eBay overall. I'm only speaking from my experience. So I do see a lot of videos and a lot of people on YouTube talking about sales are down, the tariffs are crushing sales, what's going on. The tariff conversation is so broad and big. It's moving all the time. A bunch of, there was tariff announcements. A bunch of things have been taken off the table, like cell phones and laptops that won't be affected. But there's just a lot of anxiety, I think, in the reselling community about it. Personally, I can't control the tariffs. I don't have any anxiety about it at all. None. Just because it doesn't help. The only thing I have any anxiety over is how fast can I buy a good product? How fast can I get it listed? How fast can I get it sold? So that's whatever, and I don't really have anxiety. That's not my personality, but I'm just, that's what I'm focused on doing, is doing, focusing on the things that I can control, which is my inventory and my eBay store. So I had a pretty good weekend, and I attribute it to looking for the right merchandise, making sure I'm paying the right price up front, and then I'm selling it for the right price. And when I talk about selling things for the right price, that can seem pretty vague. But whenever I'm selling things, I'm looking at recent sold comps, and I'm selling it not, if there's an assortment of prices, I'm not selling at the bottom end of the price pool. I'm going from the middle to the high end of the price pool with my products, knowing that my seller status usually bumps my items a little higher in the rankings. My promotions bump it a little higher in the rankings. I'm not an expert photographer, but I think I take pretty decent pictures just because I'm always trying to improve my pictures of my items. Now, you may go back and dig through my store and see some bad pictures. There's probably going to be some bad ones in there. But I try to take really good, thorough pictures of my items. So all of that, I think, has helped contribute to last week being pretty good for me, this past weekend being pretty good. And if you are a reseller, I would say just continue to focus on, what's in your store, getting the right merchandise. And I'm not perfect at all. I got plenty of stuff in my store that did not sell. I have 380 items, I think, listed right now. And I sold 13 items over the weekend. So that means over the weekend, 367 items did not get sold. But 13 of them did, and I'm happy about those 13. So let's get right into it. The first item that sold over the weekend, well, hold on. Before we get into it, if this is your first time here, my name's Brian. I'm a reseller. I sell on eBay. I sell in the everything category, which you'll see here in these 13 items, what everything means. And I make YouTube videos. So thanks for being here. Now let's get into the sales. The first item that sold is this 511 Tactical. This is a Rush Moab 6 sling pack. I sold this a couple weeks ago, and the guy got it and sent a message or opened a return, said, I just don't like it, and paid to ship it back. So I sold it again, and I sold it for $6 more this time. So I picked that up at Goodwill for $4.50, and I sold it for $37.89 plus shipping. So we'll see if this guy keeps it this time. This new guy. Next item that sold, Cookware. This is a modern Revereware piece. This was something my wife and I had whenever a couple years after we got married. We had a couple pieces of Revereware. It's a copper bottom, but this is a made in China piece. I sold this for $18.89 plus shipping. It's not worth quite as much as, it doesn't sell as fast. I've had it listed for probably about 4 months. So it doesn't sell as fast as the vintage and pre-1968 stuff, but sold it. Third item, man, I'm so happy about this one, is this Presto pressure cooker. This is a 23 quart. Look at that finish on that. And I put a little bit of polish on it, but it was almost all the way there on the reflectiveness whenever I bought it. So has the trivet, has the manuals, has a little piece on top that goes on the little steam spout. They had, at this estate sale, they had pretty good prices on their stuff. There's another item here that I sold from that same estate sale. But they had make an offer on a tag on the pressure cooker. And I was like, I That part I don't like a whole lot, but I took it up there and I said, hey, do you have any idea what you'd want for this? Like, I said, I don't want to make an offer and be insulting. And they're like, no, I mean, just, she goes, is it all there? She goes, we don't really know anything about pressure cookers. Is it complete? I said, yeah, everything's there. And she goes, oh, okay, good. She goes, well, what would you want to pay for it? I was like, $12? She goes, that's great. I mean, there was a couple people sitting at the table. She goes, yeah, that'll work. That's great. It was a family-run estate sale. And yeah, like I said, they had pretty good prices. They were trying to empty the house. So it worked. Picked it up for $12. I looked at the comps on eBay. They were all over the place. There was a bunch of them that they didn't look as good that had sold. Listeds and solds were anywhere from 30 to, the one that I comped this off of was the most recent sale, and they sold theirs for $125 free shipping. I didn't want to do free shipping because my luck, I'd end up, shipping it to Hawaii and it costing $100 or something. So I put on $89.89 plus shipping. And the person that ended up buying it with their shipping and tax, they ended up paying $125 or $127 or something. So in the similar-ish ballpark. So super happy with that. Turned $12 into $89.89 plus shipping. I picked it up a week ago, but I only had it listed for about 24 hours. So if you're looking for a pressure cooker, it was easy to tell that the one that I put up was one of, if not the best one listed, that wasn't brand new. It's used. And used condition, it was, excellent. It was really, really good. But of course, brand new ones would be more expensive. Yeah. It's number 3. Number 4 is this Pyrex Bowl. I've had this thing for a long time. Paid $1.10 for it at an estate sale. Sold it for $5 plus shipping. Took an offer on that one. I was just glad to get it out of the store. I regretted buying it. Once I had it, I was like, this don't sell for much. My wife didn't want it, but yeah. Just glad to sell it. I'll make a little bit of money, and now it's gone. Next item, these Vertex Pants. I picked these up a couple weeks ago. I had them in a Goodwill thrift video after I picked them up. Picked up these pants for $7.93. Sold them for full price, $19.89 plus shipping. I thought Vertex Pants were going to be worth more than they were, so I didn't comp them in the store. Now I know that these pants, it's like a military style kind of cargo work pant, uniform pant, but just not worth as much as I thought they'd be. But still, $7.93 into $19.89 plus shipping. Sold them in I've only had them listed for about a week. So glad to see those go. All right, that's number 4. Let's look at number 5. I had this in a short video a couple weeks ago, or about a week ago as well. Same weekend, I picked up that pressure cooker. I picked up this set of Salad Master cookware. There's a skillet, a little stock pot, and a steamer double boiler saucepan set up there. I picked up the whole set on the second day of an estate sale on 50% off day in the afternoon, around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, somewhere in there. So late in the day, it was late enough that my wife and I, when we saw it, we almost didn't stop. And then we're like, we're right here. Walked in and bought a ton of stuff. I've got a bunch of Revereware. I've got a whole set right up here I cleaned up that's getting listed. I've got more right there that I picked up that's already listed. I've got some over here that's already, I've got a bunch of stuff I picked up at that estate sale. I don't think they advertised it well. They only had small signs on the road, and the pricing was good. It was half off, and I was like, I was surprised all that cookware was still there, especially the Salad Master. $15 for that whole set. Just like blew my mind. So $15, and originally, so in the video, I said I was going to list it for $199.89. I did not. I listed it for $229.89 after reviewing the comps a little bit more, thinking I can probably get that. I did get a few people messaging me about offers and like $150, $155. One guy said like for $100, I don't know. But that's when I realized, I was like, okay, I don't know that I'm going to get $229. So this past weekend, I started Saturday morning, luckily after I sold the pressure cooker. I started a cookware sale, cookware and mugs, cups, and cookware for 20% off, because I have a lot of those two things. And I sold the set at 20% off for $183.91. So $15 into $183.91 plus shipping. So that was a pretty good one. They're definitely not all like that. Cookware sales and sales in general, that was a really good one. So the $15 acquisition cost on that set of Salad Master is just really good. That's not normal. All right, and let's see. Number 6 is this Craftsman Truck Box. This is the third one of these I've sold in the past 6 months. This is the biggest one I've sold too. I think this was a 30-inch. So good size box. This goes behind the seat of your pickup truck or under the seat, depending on what model of truck you have. Usually in older trucks, but the guy who was interested in it actually said, hey, do the latches work? He sent me some questions. And so I actually, to prove it, I put 4 hammers in there and showed him the hammers, took a picture, and then I latched it and held it up in the air and took a picture so he could see that it was holding the way it should. But went back and forth a little bit. I had it listed at $59.89 plus shipping. The last one that had sold was $60. I wasn't getting a lot of action on it, and he seemed very interested. And he asked, he's like, because of where he's at, the shipping is going to be a little bit expensive. And he said, would I, take a better price at all? And I went down to $52.89 for him. Real pleasant, negotiation transaction, but I paid $1 for it at a garage sale. So $1 into $52.89 plus shipping. And good thing about this, I'm going to put it in a box. The last couple I put in like just black trash bags and taped them up. But those things, you can throw them off a building and they'd be just fine. They're super sturdy. All right, let's look. Next is this set of Corningware. So I got this set at the same estate sale that I got the pressure cooker at. And it was interesting. I was down on the floor. I was looking around in the kitchen and I didn't see much. And then I looked down and there was some shelving kind of around the island for little knickknacks and stuff. And they had this Corningware all staggered in four different pieces. And so I've got it in my hands. I'm looking at it and I start adding up the prices kind of in my head. And I hear someone on the phone that looked at it, I guess, and walked away and called somebody. And they're on the other side of the kitchen, like facing the stove. And they're like, and I just hear, yeah, there's somebody else looking at it right now. I'm not sure if they're going to buy it or not. But there's, looks pretty good. And so I asked the people that are running the sale, were in the next room at a table, and a couple of the lids had chips on them. So they wanted $17. A couple of the lids had chips. And I just said, hey, would you take $15 for all 4 pieces? There's a couple of chips on the lids. And they're like, yeah, $15 is fine. And I said, okay, that'll work. So I started picking them up, and then I hear the person on the other side of the kitchen go, yep, they're gone. And I felt, I didn't feel bad, but I was like, man, they were getting excited about it just like I was. But yeah, so it's this blue corn flour, and I sold a bunch of this that we had personally as well. This is the only one that actually has, I know this is a Pyrex lid. There's one piece that has a Corning lid, and the rest of them have Pyrex branded lids, but which they all fit because I think they're the same company. But anyhow, yeah. So there's assorted sizes. There's 4 different ones in here. They're from like 1 quart to 2 3/4 quart casserole dishes. So I picked up the set for $15. These are going to be I'm saving these to last to ship. These are not going to be as much fun. Picked up the set for $15 and I ended up selling it on sale. It was in the cookware sale for $55.91 plus shipping. So 15 into $55.91 plus shipping is pretty good. I can't complain about that. Get that out of the way. Let's see what comes up next. Oh, this one. This is a little Kaboodle. This is a vintage Kaboodle. I picked it up at a garage sale a while back for $1. I was on my way to my car, and it's got the little mirror in there and the trays that slide out or flip out. So I was on my way to my car, and they had a pile of stuff just kind of sitting there, and I saw this Kaboodle, and I was like, hey, you take $1 for that? We're like, yeah, take $1 for that. So price should have said 50 cents, but I said $1. And so $1, and it was $12.89 plus shipping is what I sold it for. I've had it for about 5 or 6 months. I had it listed, so but it's going out the door. This next item, so this item I picked up at the same estate sale that I got the Salad Master at, is this Revereware Skillet fry pan. This is a 12-inch piece. This is the biggest skillet I've ever had. Unfortunately, it didn't have a lid, and I didn't have a lid to fit it. The polish on the bottom, you can see the reflection a little bit there maybe, is awesome. It was in pretty decent shape. Had a little bit of black stuff I had to scrub off, but it's in good shape overall. So picked this piece up for $6 on half off, and ended up selling it for $31.91 plus shipping on the 20% off cookware sale. And it's interesting, whenever you look at comps, this thing is in such high demand that I had it listed for $39.89 before the sale. But people were paying as much as $40 for just the skillet. But then there's also sales of the skillet with the lid for like $35. And it's based on what the supply looks like whenever people are looking. But some people pay $40 just for this, and then some people pay less and get a lid. But sold it for $31.91 plus shipping. Happy to see it go out the door for that price. Next item is a bat. It's a Louisville Slugger TPX bat. I don't know a whole lot else about it, but it is, I don't know. But it's a bat. So I picked this up at Goodwill for $7.93. Whenever I was comping it, there were other Louisville Slugger TPX bats that were worth more. I think I confused it with a different bat, because this one had some comps of like $12 to $15. So I priced it at $15, and I was getting no views, not really many watcher, and I don't think I had any watchers, low views. Somebody did send me an offer for $10 and I took it. I was like, I just want to get it out the door. I should. That's $10 plus shipping. So I should get, I break even on it, if not make a few cents. But I'll get it gone and go reinvest that money. So number 12. So I was at a Goodwill in Norman, and I looked through all the shorts, went through the jeans and pants, and went over to the shirt section. And I went down, or like the coats and jackets, and was just about to turn the corner to the shirts. And when I turned the corner, hanging on the rack, not in the right section, were 2 pair of Duluth Trading Company Flex Fire Hose pants. And then right next to those, 6 pair of Duluth Trading Flex Fire Hose cargo shorts. Like, man, these aren't even in the right place. The only thing I can think is either somebody picked them up to try to buy them, or the person who was putting clothes away might have set them there to get something else off their rack and then just forgot to put them back on their rack. I don't know why they were in the wrong spot, but they were all grouped together and they were in the wrong spot, and I bought all of them. Not all Duluth is worth picking up for the prices that Goodwill sells them at. These ones were, they're jeans. A lot of the denim is not. I pass on it just about every time I try to comp it, or every time I comp it. But these were, so I took the shorts, there were different colors, and I put them in bundles of 3 so I could raise my selling price instead of selling them one piece at a time, which is how most people do sell them on eBay. But some people sell them in lots of 2 or 3, mostly lots of 2. But I decided to do a lot of 3 because I had 6. And so the bundle of 3 cost me $17.26, and I sold the bundle for $58.89 plus shipping. So I like selling stuff for $58.89 versus selling them for, you know, 20 bucks a piece and watch them go out the door over a 30-day period. I've got another bundle to sell, and then I've got 2 pair of pants that I have bundled up to sell as well. And then the 13th item. I picked this one up about 2 weeks ago. Got it listed last week. This is a Vision Corning made in France. Waffle bottom. It's got a cool textured bottom on it. Skillet. So this is a 10-inch skillet. Picked this up at Goodwill for $8.47. And I sold it on the Cookware sale. It was late. It was 11 o'clock last night. So they were an hour away from not getting their 20% off. Sold it for $22.31 plus shipping on that one. So not as much profit as I would have liked, but I'm still going to make probably double my money, close to it, and get that sent out the door. And that's it. That's all 13 items that sold over the weekend. I haven't done the totals, but I think it's going to be a pretty good weekend overall dollar-wise, which is going to turn it into a pretty good week overall dollar-wise. I'll have all the details for that coming out on Wednesday with the weekly recap, what sold video. So really appreciate you being here. Appreciate you spending some time with me. If you do have any questions or comments, leave those down below and I'll make sure to get back to you. And until next time, have a great day.